I've just turned on a piece of smart technology. It's just a simple iHome outlet. This is something that I connected to my iPhone and just plugged it in. It does work with internet, but I thought it would be a fun way to show you guys one of the new, more popular types of assistive technology that we're using. And it does feel kind of good too on me up here, so there's that. So, my name is Amy Perrin. I am from the Minnesota STAR program. Minnesota STAR program is 100% federally funded. I am the Assistive Technology Resource Specialist, and our program serves all Minnesotans, all ages, all disabilities. But we're not here to talk about that today. We're here to talk about technology or assistive technology. So let's start with the term assistive technology. You can see my beautiful photo up here. We here in the north know what's coming, and we're not necessarily thrilled about it, but we need to keep it in mind. So I thought this would be an appropriate image for you guys to see. If any of you are having a hard time seeing the board, we have a gentleman who needs to get out to the barn to check on the cows, and over the night time there was quite a bit of snowfall, and he's got his walker, and it's very difficult for him to get out there. So he has modified his walker and has just taken some boards and attached it to the front, and lo and behold, he is now able to get in to check on the animals in the barn. And we are just struggling here. Okay, so here's the federal definition of assistive technology while you ponder if that gentleman was using assistive technology or not. Any item, piece of equipment, or product system, whether acquired commercially, off the shelf, modified, or customized, that is used to increase, maintain, or improve functional capabilities of individuals with disabilities. What a mouthful. That's how we do it in the federal government. It's so exciting. In my mind, though, the first two words really say it all. Any item. An item could be something you purchase off the shelf, such as Dragon Naturally Speaking. Raise your hand if you've heard of Dragon Naturally Speaking. So this is a software that you can use on computers, tablets, cell phones. If you have difficulty or are completely unable to type, you can use your voice. So as long as your voice is strong enough, you are able to do anything. People write books with it, they do emails, anything that you can imagine you can do with Dragon Naturally Speaking. So for a lot of us, Dragon is a tool that is a convenience. It helps us increase productivity. For others with disabilities, it's a necessity. So in my mind, Dragon could be either traditional technology or assistive technology. Then we mentioned in the definition modified. So tennis balls. Would you think of tennis balls as assistive technology? No, but if you cut a hole in them and you attach them to the bottom of a walker, they suddenly have become assistive technology, and they're a tool that really helps individuals. And lumber. We saw in the previous slide, the gentleman had affixed the 2x4s to the front of his walker, and now suddenly he has his own sled or plow, whatever you want to call it. That's what I would classify as maker's movement, which is really a big trend we're seeing in assistive technology, where folks are putting on their thinking caps and modifying things that you wouldn't necessarily think as assistive technology and making it work for them. So a point I just wanted to make, though, is what might be considered a convenience for some. Assistive technology is needed to perform a task or a function. So without that technology, you would not be able to do that function as effectively. Another example would be automatic door openers. I used one coming in the building today because I had a bunch of gear. Could I have gotten in without the use of the door? Absolutely. For someone in a wheelchair who maybe has limited arm mobility, they may not have been able to enter the building without a modified door. So that, again, would be an example of assistive technology. Please let me know as we go along, too, if you have any questions or comments. I'm fine with answering as we go. So I had mentioned in the beginning that the STAR program is a federally funded program. Now I know are any of you here from outstate, not in Minnesota? Are any of you, okay. That's what I was expecting today. So why would they ask a Minnesotan to come and talk to you about assistive technology? Our program is federally funded, so every state, all of the 4 U.S. territories, District of Columbia, and Puerto Rico all have an Assistive Technology Act program. There's really no requirement to get services from these programs. So here in Minnesota, if you have a vision impairment and you need to work with state services for the blind, you need to get a referral to go to them. The AT Act programs, you don't need a referral. You basically just have to show an interest in or a need for. So the good news is I'm going to show you a bunch of things today, tell you a lot of information. Don't worry, when you go back home, you can contact your state AT Act program and they can assist you. The 4 core services that you're going to see in all of the states are information and assistance. So we get a lot of people calling every day just with simple questions. You know, I'm starting to have some mobility issues. I'm finding grasping a spoon difficult. Do you have any ideas? Is there anything out there? So then we'll talk about that. If they're located geographically close to our office, they can come to our office and have a device demonstration. So a lot of times what will happen is we'll know that there's a specific issue. Maybe I've got a hearing impairment and I'm just trying to find something to function more successfully at home or in the workplace. So I'll go to my local AT Act program and they'll present to me maybe 3 or 4 different items. Different manufacturers. They don't sell anything, so that's exciting too. You're not going to get a pressure to buy anything. But you get the opportunity to see this technology firsthand, touch it, feel it, try it out. At the end of that demonstration, you may say, I really liked this pocket talker. It helped me to hear the conversation a lot better, but it's $200 and I don't know that I want to spend $200. Will I use it every day? Will it be convenient for me? So then your AT Act program will let you borrow that device for 30 days. So it's like going to a regular traditional library. You can borrow that device for 30 days at no cost. Take it with you where you think you would use it, and then hopefully at the end of that 30-day loan, when you return the device, you have a better idea if this is something that's worth you spending your hard-earned money on. So in addition to info and assistance, demonstrations, and loans, there's also what we call AT reutilization. So what that means is as technology starts to age, which, believe it or not, a computer now, we consider the life cycle of a computer 3 to 5 years. Awful, right? So at the end of that 3 to 5 years, the tool may still work, it's just not as efficient as it once was. What do we do with that equipment? So here in Minnesota, we have what we call an open-ended loan program, where consumers can reach out to us and say, hey, do you have any tablets with hearing apps on them that I could use? I check my old inventory, I do, so then I let them borrow it for an open-ended amount of time. They don't pay anything for it, they just know that when it's no longer of use to them, they return it back to us. Now, each state is going to vary a little bit as far as how their services work and what services they offer. Anybody here from North Dakota? North Dakota is a wonderful state program because they have additional funding through some nonprofits and some grants, so they're actually able to offer more services than we are here in Minnesota. So when you get back home and you research your AT Act program, you may find that there's additional services available. And I keep saying you can go home and find out who your AT Act program is, and you're going, well, how am I supposed to do that? So here's how you do that. You're going to go to a website called the AT3 Center. And the actual web address for that is www.at3center.net. You will also see on the handout that I gave you, on one page I have a list of what I think are helpful resources If you didn't get a handout, we'll make sure they're at the back of the room before you leave and you can get one. But the AT3 Center is listed on there. Wonderful tool. Not only are you able to find where your different resources are located, there's just a lot of information about assistive technology on there too. Part of the reason I'm here today, not only to make you aware of these programs, but is also to just get you thinking about assistive technology. A lot of people don't even think about it, and that's something that we're very aware of, and we try to figure out why. And I think some of the main reasons are, one, lack of awareness. You just don't realize it's out there. I have a hard time opening a jar. If my husband's not home, what do? I pound it on the counter and I make him really mad. Or I could look at a simple piece of assistive technology. You know, this is stuff that is available readily to all of us. This is a wonderful jar opener that simply mounts to the bottom of the cabinet, or you can keep it in your hand. What I like about this one is it's cone shaped, so no matter the size of the jar, it could be, you know, small, like there's a Canada Dry 2-liter bottle up there. I could open that, or I could have a large pickle jar. And I tell you, no matter how, I haven't come across anything yet that I have not been able to open with this. I just have it simply on my countertop, on the upper cabinet, and it works great. So I'm only having to fumble with one thing instead of two things. You know, this is something that's simple, common sense. Here's another type of technology. Now, keep in mind, footnote, a lot of this stuff today I brought probably won't apply to you. But I'm just trying to get your thinking caps situated and let you know, hey, if there's a struggle that you have or someone that you care for has, reach out to your ATAC program and see if maybe there's something out there. So maybe we've got a weak voice, maybe we're just not feeling well, we've got to go to a doctor's appointment, they're having a hard time hearing us. This is a personal amplifier. So it looks like a wonderful 1980s fanny pack that I can strap around my waist. I don't want to hold on to it. I simply have strapped it around my head. There's different versions. There's one which they call a collar mic, which you can just rest on your collar. This is not going to be as loud as this microphone I have here. This is the actual speaker. But I'm going to come forward and just say something quickly just to kind of give you an idea, stepping forward, hoping to avoid some feedback. So, let's see, can you hear me? So this is called the Chatterbox. This is a wonderful tool, like I said, for someone who has a low voice, they're having a hard time projecting themselves. But obviously what I want to say is important, and I want those around me to hear it. So this is a wonderful tool. And another thing we do with the program is when you come in and you say, I need help projecting, I'm not going to say this is the tool for you. I'm going to have 3 different brands, 3 different manufacturers, because I want you to try different ones out. We all know that what works for me may not work for you, so it's nice to have choices and options. We can compare different price points. This obviously is an issue with technology. It's expensive. So a lot of times it's nice to be able, are you hearing me okay? In the back even? It's nice to be able to, let's start with the cheapest one. Does it do the job? If it does, then let's go for it versus spending, an extra $500 or $600 on something. Sorry guys. I tried. Okay, so lack of awareness. Next is lack of training or skill. That's really scary. So when you get something new and you don't know how to use it, you just a lot of times put it away, put it in the closet. How many of you use smartphones? How many of you think you use all of the features on your smartphone? We don't even think about the assistive technology that we have in our person. Let's try this. How long will it take me to get home?
Traffic to home is light, so I'm estimating 16 minutes via I-494 East.
So I asked how long to get home. Now, Yesterday when I tested that out, it said, I don't know where you live, so I can't tell you how to get home. Well, yeah, I never put my own address in my phone. But you know, just simple things like that makes life so much easier. You know, we have all of these struggles and things that we're working on and dealing with, and we don't need to add stress. So if we can utilize the tools that we have to the best of their ability and our ability, it just makes life so much easier. So my point, I guess, with the lack of training and skill is spend time getting familiarized with the tools that you have. Do your research. Reach out to your Assistive Technology Act programs. A lot of times they're going to have tools and resources available. They may even have trainings available that can help you learn how to use this equipment. I can't say enough about the internet. I love the internet and I love YouTube. So many times when people borrow equipment from us, if I know they have computer access at home, I'll send them videos of YouTube tutorials on how to use the OB feeding device or how to use the Ruby magnifier. And then that way, once the equipment arrives, they have an idea how to use it and they're ready to get started. Fear, I kind of touched upon that a little bit. And then also technical difficulties. It happens, you know, we had a little bit of trouble here and it's easy to get frustrated, but you know, just reach out to the tools and the resources that you have available, and oftentimes you're able to kind of overcome those hurdles. Okay, so here's where we're going to try to pray to the technology gods again. I thought this would be a really fun video to show you guys. Any of you Apple users out there? A few, okay. I know a lot of people dislike Apple. I am a fan, and let's see if we can just get it to play from here. If not, what I'm going to do is go back to my little link. This is really, I think, worth the time I'm taking here, so I want to make sure and show it to you. It's a very short video. Apple recently announced that they have a new tool coming out, and it's called voice control. And this video demonstrates a gentleman in a wheelchair who has basically no hand use at all. So this is demonstrating through the power of technology what he's able to accomplish. Now this is Apple, but it's very exciting because all of the different manufacturers, Windows, Android, Google Chrome, are really working together. So this is Apple today, but I really expect to see tools like this available from the other manufacturers soon. So if you're an Android user, you'll be fine.
Voice control is a breakthrough feature that gives you full control of your devices, with just your voice, period. It's a whole new way to do everything you love, period.
Hang on.
Like this.
We see it. We hear it, but we don't see it. Bear with me.
Wake up. Voice control is a breakthrough feature that gives you full control of your devices, with just your voice, period. It's a whole new way to do everything you love, period. Like this. Correct love. 16. Open photos. Scroll up. Show numbers. 13. Click share. 3. Tip. Next field. Let's try this one today. Thumbs up emoji. Click send. Open maps. Show grid. Long press at 20. Open app switcher. 4. Tap share. Tap temp. Tap send. Hey, good to see you.
so there you saw he created an email and sent it to his friend, made a date with pictures, and they met up. So that is pretty amazing. It's technology that he has at his fingertip, at his voice. And I just think it's so amazing. And it's coming soon. Hang on. And now it's working.
Beyond the Steel Sky is super ambitious in that it's taking a full, high-quality console game directly to mobile.
All right, just a moment.
With legendary comic book artist Dave Gibbons, who co-created and drew.
There we go. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about the different.
Excuse me.
Yep.
Would you mind if turning off the fan because it's causing a rumbling sound?
Thank you. Mentioning that. There. Okay, I apologize. I'm going to get right back to where I was. So let's talk a little bit about the different types of assistive technology. So we categorize it in a number of ways. We have what we call low-tech items, which in my mind, a low-tech item would be something that does not require a battery, or it's very simple to use, all the way to the high-tech, where it's going to take a little bit of training, a little bit of practice to figure it out. It most likely requires power or internet. But then we also are going to break it down by disability categories. So at our program, and probably most of the state ATAC programs, you're going to find that there's devices broken up by vision, hearing, speech communication, learning, mobility, daily living, environmental adaptations, and then there's a few more. But some of them are going to overlap a little bit too. The OB feeding device is something that I categorize as a daily living tool, but then obviously it's also a mobility tool. This is for someone who is unable to feed themselves on their own. They have no mobility. So I did bring a few different devices in different categories today just to kind of give you an idea of what we're talking about. Vision devices are something that, when as we age, our vision gets to be not what it once was. We're doing a lot right now with lighting. How many of you are using LED lighting at home? I can't say enough about it. It's amazing. Not only are we using LED lighting for vision issues, we're also using it for sensory issues. So we see a lot of people who maybe get migraines or have different things like that. Seasonal affective disorder, where they get really sad in the winter and they have prescriptions for extra lighting. We find with LED lighting, it really can help a lot in different areas. So those are tools that we have available. We have different types of magnifiers available. This is what we call a high definition magnifier, and what's nice about this, and a little bit different than a traditional handheld magnifier, is we're able to zoom in and out, increase the size of what you're looking at. So maybe you've got a picture of a loved one and you're trying to see, it's a brand new baby, what color are their eyes? By zooming in with this magnifier, you're able to see that. Then we also have what we call different modes. We've found that as you lose your vision, sometimes you do better with different contrasts. So, the paper you have in front of you is white with black text. Maybe you would do better with a yellow background with black text. So those are different things that people are able to try out and experiment. The bottom image, you may remember that from the first slide when I introduced myself. I was wearing one of those. That's the Iris Vision glasses. And this is an amazing piece of high-tech technology where it's similar to a smartphone that's been attached to a pair of VR glasses. And the individual can switch modes, so they could be wearing it and look around the room, and it's going to increase the people that we see. Or we could watch TV. Someone with a disease like macular degeneration, oftentimes they're not able to watch TV. Through a device like this, they're now able to. It also has a new feature where you can watch YouTube videos. So just lots of different resources available. Additionally, I always like to point out, use the tools that you have available. So if you do have a smartphone, something just as simple as taking a picture, pinch and zoom, you now suddenly can read the label on your pill bottle. Hearing devices, we've got a lot of different things. We have a very common problem with people starting to lose their hearing. Maybe a husband and wife are living at home and the wife loves to listen to the Home and Garden channel and the husband hates it and she has a hard time hearing it, so she turns it up really loud. And if he has to hear one more cooking show, he's just going to go crazy. So if you get the TV listening system, you can just wear these little earphones. She can listen to it at 60 and he can hear it at the normal sound level or not hear it at all and he's happy. So that's something that's pretty neat. But we get a little creative too. So I have a picture of the central alert system up in the upper right-hand corner. I had a couple recently who called and she had a progressive illness. I believe she had MS and she was living at home and needed to get up at night to go to the bathroom, but was really having a hard time, just couldn't do it successfully on her own. He slept in a different bedroom, but he had some hearing loss, which he didn't think he had, but let's say he did. So how is she going to wake him up? So they called and they were frustrated, and it was to the point where they were looking at maybe she was going to have to live somewhere else. So I said, hey, I got an idea. Let's take a look at this device. So it's on the desk. You can come at it at the end if you want to take a look at it, though. It just looks like a traditional alarm clock, but there's different components that we can add on to it. So I've got what we call a bed vibrator or bed shaker. Which is just a small disc, and we had him put it under his pillow. Then she took this handy little doorbell that you're supposed to put on the front of the house. But I said, let's just try putting that on your nightstand and see what happens. She was in another room with this. He had that in his room. The vibration woke him up enough to suddenly realize there's flash strobing light. He knew that meant Edith needed help, so he got up and went and checked on her right away. We did the similar thing for another couple where she had early onset Alzheimer's and was getting up and wandering around and actually got out of their apartment a couple times, and their daughter was staying with them, sleeping on the couch. And we were successfully able to get her back in her home, and the couple were able to stay in their home. So even though this was something that was developed specifically just for hearing, we were able to use it in a couple different capacities. So that's where it's really good if you're able to reach out to resources in your area and just kind of brainstorm a little bit. Speech communication, so I showed you the chatterbox. That is great for an individual who's got a soft voice. Other tools, though, we mentioned a little bit early on, the Dragon Naturally Speaking, where you're able to speak and then it voices aloud for you. We do a lot too with folks, maybe someone with an ALS who has lost their voice and has no mobility. We have tools where you simply use head control and then you're able to drive the mouse on your computer. And let's see. We're going to try to demonstrate that here at the end. I have a feeling my little device needs to be charged, which is a problem. So, I'm going to show that at the end. What I'll demonstrate at the end is hands-free computer access. And I brought a few different devices today. This is what I call Glasshouse. And this simply connects to my computer via Bluetooth. I just put it on my head, and then I'm going to use a switch, either like the one I have there, or I have one that connects to the glasses, which I can put in my mouth, and I could bite on it, or I have a puff switch where I could blow on it. And then what this does is this acts as my mouse. So I'm able to control my computer via my head no hands at all. This is really getting to be a huge trend that we're seeing in the AT world. I just spoke of that a little bit. We've got a picture here. We were fortunate to have a student worker this summer, and so she ended up kind of testing out a lot of the equipment for me. And so I've got a picture here where she was using an app that we put on my computer. It's called Smile Mouse. And that is one I don't believe I put on the resource sheet. It's SMYLE, Smile Mouse. That's kind of a fun one that you could try out for free for 2 weeks if you're interested in this type of technology. But it only will work on Windows-based devices. But basically what happens is you need to have a built-in camera on your computer, and then it uses your face, calculates your face, and just by small facial movements, you're able to drive the mouse, and then your smile acts as the click. Just amazing.
Wow. Cool.
Next is what I kind of started out with, and I just feel terrible that fan was blowing and causing noise, so I'm glad you said something. The next big one that I really felt was important to mention is environmental controls. And you know, so many people now are starting to use environmental controls in so many different ways. You know, from driving your car, getting GPS directions. Here in Minnesota, we just passed the hands-free law where you can't use your cell phones. So, you know, we're able to answer our phones via Bluetooth or get directions that way. But some of the other simple things that we're able to do that you may, is anyone currently using smart devices at home? We've got a few of you, okay. So simple things like controlling the lights, smart outlets. You know, we use this for our Christmas tree. We have this set up, and you know how hard it is to get in and plug that tree in and out, or you know, maybe you have it on a timer, but for whatever reason you're gone earlier than normal, so you don't want it on, whatever. You're able to control it very easily that way. Doors, we have a demo system set up in our office, and we've got a smart doorbell, which works with a camera. So what's neat about that is I'm in my house, someone rings the door, and I'm wondering who it is. So I look at my device, and I see that it's my daughter. So I can hit the button and unlock the door. We have a smart lock also, and then she's able to come in without me having to get to the door. So that makes life much easier. We can obviously control thermostats. We've got different types of sensors where maybe you're in a home with a basement and it's difficult for you to get down there. What happens if the water heater breaks and suddenly there's water down there and you don't go for a week or two? The sensor would go off and alert you that there's water going off. Or it could be something where a caregiver gets an alert. Maybe I started the bath water and I've got some cognition issues and I forgot about it and the bathroom was flooding. My caregiver gets an alert on their app that the sensor has gone off and that there's some type of flooding. So then they can reach out to me and find out what's going on. We talked about phone calls. We can control our TV. Very simple, lots of different things. The image on the screen is of an example of a smart outlet, and that's what we call a TP-Link smart outlet. I brought a different one today. I brought an iDevice, and that was the one I demonstrated today, because what I wanted to do is I wanted to verbally be able to turn that fan on and off. With the TP-Link, I would not be able to do it verbally with my iPhone. Why? Because it doesn't work with my iPhone. This is an Amazon device. So this I could control with my Alexa. So here's the deal with this stuff. If you're interested in it, take your time and do your research. It can be very simple or it can be very complex. And you've got some, so you know how that goes. This is Amazon friendly, this is Apple friendly. So you need to know what you're buying before you buy it to make sure that it works with your tools. Then the other thing we get into, and we're not going to go real deep into this, we just don't have the time today, but some of these are real simple, just what I would call plug and play. This morning I downloaded the app, I found the outlets because it was trying to connect to my Wi-Fi, and I punched in the number and magically it worked. Some of these tools aren't that simple. Let's say you have automatic blinds at home. They're not going to be that simple. They're going to need what we call a hub. And a hub is similar to, I like to describe it as a bridge. So what happens is the hub talks to my phone, the blinds talk to the hub. So the three devices together make the magic happen. But it gets very complicated on setting it up. So if you have interest in this type of technology, I'd say start out really simple. You certainly can reach out to your AT Act program and they can guide you on some different places to start. As I mentioned, I think YouTube's a great resource. We got my mother-in-law and what did we get her? We got an Amazon Echo Dot for Christmas because she wanted one, and I just thought, what in the world is she going to do with this? And she called us and said it was the best thing that she ever got. She just loves it, and she's able to play her music on it, turn lights on and off with it, get the weather forecast, just uses it all the time. So it was really a great investment. And that Echo Dot is, I believe, like a $40 investment. So it doesn't have to be really expensive, but again, depending on what you're trying to accomplish, it goes up from there. Here's some examples of two different popular brands. The Amazon smart devices are the black colored ones, and there's a whole family of equipment. And one thing that's kind of neat that we're starting to see here in the AT world is videos to go along with them. So we've got this one here and that one there. What happens is maybe you're trying to figure out how to make a quiche or something. You can call it up on Alexa, hey Alexa, show me how to make a quiche. And then suddenly on that screen in the kitchen, it's going to show you. Or better yet, let's say my husband is home and I'm at work and he's got some physical disabilities and I'm concerned about him. I want to make sure that he's okay. So I can simply remote in on that device and have a conversation with him. Now he's going to tell me, yeah, I'm fine or whatever, but when I see his face, I know, no, he's having a bad day. I maybe should get home. So the added piece of the screen, I think for some individuals, is really invaluable. Another issue that we've seen with these devices, these are great as long as you can hear. So for the non-hearing community, they've been really missing out on this technology. So now by adding this screen, folks can do sign language and they can communicate that way, or maybe they're able to hear a little bit, but they really need to do lip reading. So that's kind of opened up a whole new world for individuals that way. Another thing too that I want to mention with the smart technology, just simple things like buying groceries. Sometimes it's just really hard to get out of the house. And so having the ability to order these things online and have them delivered can really make life a lot easier for a lot of folks. So, these are just different resources and tools that we don't always think about, but they really can make life a lot easier. Getting towards the end here, I wanted to talk a little bit about built-in accessibility. So a lot of times people don't even realize what's available on the technology that you have. So on your Windows tablets, on your Windows computers, on your phones, we have accessibility features. So things like increasing the size of your font, or hands-free access, voice activated, trying to let us know, trying to let us do things without these hands that don't always work the way we want them to. So I want you to make sure and check that out, and if there's a certain area where you're struggling, just Google it and find out what the accessibility features can do for you. Now, one thing to keep in mind though is the age of your equipment. The newer the device, the more features it's going to have available. So if you have a Windows computer and you're running Windows 7 versus Office or Windows 10, your Windows 10 computer is going to be able to do a lot more than your Windows 7 computer. So just keep that in mind. Some examples for mobility that I wanted to point out was an on-screen keyboard. So what that does is, I know the image isn't really great, but that was on my actual tablet that I'm using today, or my laptop, and I just typed in, with Windows they call it ease of access. So if you go to your start menu and you type in ease of access, that will pop up, and that's going to show you all the different features that are available to customize your computer. So I just typed in on-screen keyboard and that literally popped up for me. So maybe you've got a touchscreen computer and you use a stylus. So just simply by doing that is going to make it easier and reduce the number of keystrokes you'd have to do with your fingers. What I also like about this feature then is word prediction can pop up. So then you may be able to choose, ability. After you just type AB, you're not going to have to type out all of ability. Speech recognition is another tool that is available. Delegate digitally, so that's going to be just shortcut keys. For those of you that are avid computer users, something simply like Control-Alt-Delete is going to close it for you, or Control-C is going to copy something for you. So there's a lot of different shortcuts. Filter keys would be your F keys. If you want more information on any of this stuff, please let me know, and I can certainly send you information on it. Or as I said before, you can always reach out to your local AT Act program. For those of you not from Minnesota, I've got a picture up here of our beautiful state capitol, and that's where our offices are housed. Please let me know if you have specific questions, but I think what I want to do too is I realize there's a couple items I didn't really cover with you. For computer mobility, we've got tons of options for just simple things like a mouse. This is one of the most popular mice that I loan out to individuals. A lot of people like the roller mouse, where you rest your hand on top of the mouse and there's a ball on it. What happens though is you start using motions that you haven't used before, and then sometimes people get new aches and pains that they haven't had in the past. So again, this is where the library is nice, where you can try it, and then after maybe a week or so, oh my gosh, now I have a new problem. So people borrow this. This is called the 3M mouse, and it's much like a joystick, and what's nice is on the top of it is where the left and right click is. So people who have had a lot of hand pain find this to be very helpful. There's also then button features on the side that act like your left and right mouse. But we've probably got 20 different types of mice available. Keyboards are another option, where I've got keyboards that tent. So maybe you're an individual that, you can't do this, you need to do this, or I have a keyboard that splits in half. So if you're having a hard time doing this, maybe this simple movement is going to make it easier to operate. So again, here's some other options. We've got high vision keyboards where the keys are bright yellow, and then the actual square is yellow, and then the letter itself is either black or white. This also is a very popular mouse replacement. This is called the Contour Roller Mouse. You set this in front of your keyboard. Your wrist rests on this pad, and there's a bar that scrolls back and forth. So the idea is you're able to keep your arms right in front of you, not having to go out to the side like this. By pressing the bar, that's a click motion, or centralized, we've got some button options too, so you can control it either way. So I just wanted to point out, if you're having trouble with keyboarding, keep things like this in mind, and know that there's just tons of different resources out there. A couple of other things that I brought that I wanted to mention were just some basic low-tech daily living aids. So here we've got, what do you think this is? Anybody? Okay, this is actually for a tablet. She said a smartphone, but if it was a smaller base, it could be. Right, so what's nice about this is the neck is adjustable, so I can put my iPad, which is really big and bulky, in here, it'll stretch. Or if it's too big, I can turn it this way. Just really nice to give me the ability to do things without having to use my hands. We have another one that's about this high that goes in front of the recliner, and you can pull it in front of you, so it's literally over your lap. And what's nice about that one is it's got adjustable pegs, so it will hold any size, from down to an iPhone, all the way up to a large laptop. This is a very popular item too. Have any of you heard of the Liftware spoons? Okay, so this is a gyroscopic mouse. And as I hold it, it's vibrating. And the idea, this is what we call the Liftware Steady. This was the first version. So for individuals with tremors, what happens is as you bring the spoon to your mouth, it stays steady and you're able to get the food in your mouth without it spilling. Now they have another version called the Level. Mine is currently checked out, so I couldn't bring it to you today. But what I like about the Level is it's a long, skinny handle, and it's got a strap across it. So if grasping is difficult for you, you don't have to worry about it. You just get your hand in between the strap and the handle and you hold it like this. But this mouse bends. So if you have a hard time lifting your arms, you can go like this, and as you go this way, the spoon will bend to your mouth. Then to go to the high end, we've got a newer device. This is Obi, and Obi is going to bow to you because Obi is a Japanese device, and that's a sign of welcome and greeting. So this is a switch-activated device. For those of you in the back who can't see it very well, just keep in mind you're welcome to come up at the end. What we've got is we've got two switches. One lets us go. I did it backwards, sorry. So it's actually scooping in and pulling the food. It cleans the bottom of the spoon, and then it goes to the person's mouth. What happens when we first get it, we teach it where their mouth is. So ideally the person would be sitting right here and their mouth is right there. They're gonna have to have enough mobility to lean forward. But then once they've taken their bite, they'll hit the button, and now they need to decide. There's 4 different cells, so we've got 4 different types of food. Do I want this one? No. This one? No. You know, they independently can make that choice. You can use any type of switch. There's some videos out there. I just shared one this morning on our Facebook page of a gentleman who has no hand usage, and it's been 20 years since he's been able to feed himself. So now he's thrilled that he can feed himself independently, make his own choices, not tell his wife when he's ready for another bite. What they've done with him is they've got the switch just underneath his forearm, and he's able to just press his arm a little bit to activate that switch. So there's lots of different ways that we can get creative with these type of things. So what I classify as a mid-tech item all the way up to a high-tech item. I'm sure you've all seen the spoons that maybe have a really wide handle. There's no charging or anything like that. That's what, or a spoon that's heavy, weighted really heavy. That's what I would call a low-tech item. Obi's gonna take a nap now. That's what happens after you don't use it for a while. It just wipes the spoon off, and now it's going to go into a resting mode. I did show you the jar opener. Another fun tool that I think would benefit anyone if you take daily medication. Did I take it? I don't remember. On the top of this is just a little battery operation with the time and the date. So it appears the last time I took my medication was Wednesday at 10:30. Ruh-roh. I just took it off, I put it back on, and now suddenly it says Friday at 11:22. So if I go back in an hour, because I don't remember if I took my medication or not, it tells me the last time I took the lid off. So this is a great little low-tech tool. And then, you know, just something as simple as a heavy bottle, trying to lift this darn heavy bottle. And it's tricky when I do it backwards. This comes in a couple different sizes. I know they have one for a gallon, but basically what you do is you take the lid off, you just simply lift it a little bit, so that you have to have the ability to lift it a little bit, and then simply go like that, and it's gonna pour for you. So a lot of these items are now available on Amazon, which I've been in this field for about 10 years now, and about 10 years ago, it was really hard to find assistive technology. You had to go through specialized companies, and unfortunately, they knew that, so they were charging you a lot more money. It's still very expensive, so that's why I really think the ATI programs are awesome to give you the opportunity to try this stuff on the front end. But once you do find something, at least now there's different places that you can go to. It's a little more competitive. So, you know, I might find 3 or 4 different places that are selling this item, and I'm going to get a better price for it. So, I think that's about what I have for you today. Does anybody have any specific questions? Yes?
Do you have a catalog?
Do I have a catalog?
When we go into your website, is it like a catalog to look at things?
Okay, good question. She said when you go to our website, is there a catalog? Now I want to clarify, I can only help people in Minnesota. That's my assistive technology giving me a couple minute warning, so let me turn that off with my smartwatch. Okay. I can only help people in Minnesota. The Minnesota program, yes, we have a searchable database, which you can search by device name or category, so you can search by mobility. A lot of times, though, I just tell people it's kind of a pain to use. You're better off just reaching out to me directly. Whatever state you're from will vary, so you really could either just check their site to see if they have that, but most of them do have online information on what they have available. Any other questions? Yeah.
So I thought I might share this. I had someone in the exercise class saw it as something that would be helpful. I use this for a bunch of different stuff. More times than not, something I can't hold on to. So let's say I couldn't hold on to my cane. And wrap this onto my wrist, and then this pulls my hand closed over it. Tightly so.
Tell me the name of this device.
It's called Active Hands.
Okay, Active Hands. So for those of you in the back who can't see it, it appears to be about kind of a piece of Velcro that is strapped around his wrist. And then we've got some beautiful padding here that literally went over his hand here. And then you're able to strap your cane in there so you don't have to grasp onto it. I'm really glad you mentioned that because I have a wish list. And I get to go to my boss and say, hey, this is what I want. I found something similar that you're able to use for pens and hairbrushes, and for the life of me, I can't think of the name of it. That's why I was asking you, because I was hoping it was the same. But that gives you an idea, though, you know, that you have a task that you're trying to complete. Is there a tool out there? Feel free to reach out to me if you want to know of different websites that you can look at. You know, there's a number of different websites where you can go and just browse and look at. That's what I would call a daily living aid. So fantastic, and it probably was a fairly affordable. And for those of you that are crafty, you could probably whip something up like that on your own too with just some simple Velcro. Any other thoughts or questions? Or all right. Well, I sure appreciate you taking time out of your day today. I know you've got an amazing schedule. It's just amazing. And I hope I've given you some information that you can use and at least got you thinking about assistive technology in the future.
Thank you.